Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to our group meditation class today.
Yeah, Bhante.
Now, a little bit difficult to hear you, I think.
Now, is better?
That's better. Yeah, that's more clear.
Yeah. Chào mừng cả nhà đến với buổi thực hành thiền ngày hôm nay.
So our lives as a people in the modern world can be very complicated, very confusing, and can seem like we are constantly distracted, constantly involved in something.
Cuộc sống của chúng ta trong thế giới hiện tại này thì ngày càng phức tạp và chúng ta luôn luôn bị cuốn vào những cái điều cảm thấy của cuộc sống.
So, this moment and this gathering is for a very special purpose, and that is to get involved with being uninvolved.
Vì thế, cái khoảnh khắc này chúng ta đang có mặt ở đây với một cái mục đích vô cùng thiện, đó là chúng ta ở đây để hiện diện.
So we do this by starting to be aware of what's happening right now.
Vì thế bây giờ chúng ta hãy bắt đầu bằng cách nhận thức được điều gì đang diễn ra ngay bây giờ.
We can rely on our meditation method to help us with this practice, to help us with being aware of what's happening right now.
Chúng ta có thể dựa vào các pháp thực hành thiền, đó chính là chúng ta phát triển cái sự nhận biết, cái sự ý thức điều gì đang diễn ra ngay bây giờ.
So, for example, we can focus our attention on the breath, the activity of breathing, the breath flowing in and flowing out.
Ví dụ như bây giờ chúng ta có thể tập trung vào cái hơi thở, chúng ta cảm nhận được cái dòng hơi thở đang đi vào và đi ra.
We don't rely on liking or disliking during this time. We don't rely on right or wrong, up or down, left or right. But we rely on the meditation method. We rely on being aware of what's happening right now.
Chúng ta không dựa trên cái điều thích hay không thích. Chúng ta cũng không dựa vào sự đúng hay sai. Chúng ta cũng không dựa trên cái sự tăng trưởng hay cái sự giảm đi. Mà chúng ta dựa trên cái phương pháp thực hành thiền, đó chính là nhận thức, là ý thức được điều gì đang diễn ra như bây giờ.
So in our life, we have the habit to get stuck. We get stuck on liking something or not liking something. And we get stuck on some story about our life, some story about ourselves or someone else.
Trong cuộc sống của chúng ta bị mắc kẹt vào việc thích hay không thích một điều gì đó, hoặc chúng ta bị mắc kẹt vào những cái câu chuyện về cuộc sống của chính mình hoặc của một ai đó.
Now is our moment, this moment, to abandon something, some experience, or someone who is experiencing. We let go of this kind of idea.
Ngay bây giờ trong khoảnh khắc này, chúng ta hãy buông bỏ những cái điều đó, buông bỏ những cái trải nghiệm về một ai đó mà chúng ta đã trải nghiệm trong cuộc sống. Chúng ta hãy buông bỏ tất cả những cái ý tưởng này, những cái suy nghĩ này.
We abandon that, or we let go of that, not through some kind of special idea or some formula, but instead we are aware of those someone, something to like or dislike, and then we come back to breathing itself. We come back to awareness itself.
Chúng ta từ bỏ, chúng ta buông bỏ, chúng ta đặt xuống những cái điều đó không phải là dựa trên một cái phương pháp, một cái cách thức đặc biệt nào, mà chúng ta buông bỏ những cái một cái điều gì đó, một ai đó, hoặc chúng ta buông bỏ đi những cái sự thích hay không thích bằng cách là chúng ta quay về tập trung vào hơi thở. Chúng ta chỉ nhận biết hơi thở như chính nó.
So we have to be willing to not understand. We have to be willing to not get stuck on anything.
Và chúng ta hãy sẵn sàng với những cái điều mà chúng ta không hiểu, và chúng ta cũng hãy sẵn sàng để không bị mắc kẹt vào bất cứ điều gì cả.
Coming back to the breath at this moment.
Hãy quay về với hơi thở ngay khoảnh khắc hiện tại.
Coming back to the heart, feeling the heart in the body at this moment.
Hãy quay về với trái tim. Hãy quay về với cảm giác của trái tim, của cơ thể ngay khoảnh khắc hiện tại.
Some people approach meditation as picking up a puzzle and trying to solve it.
Một số người thì áp dụng thiền giống như là việc giải những cái bài toán.
But this practice of meditation is to recognize that we are holding on to a puzzle. We are holding on to something that is mixed up, something we feel needs to be fixed, needs to be solved. And our practice is to put that down. Put down the puzzle. Put down this thing that needs to be solved.
Nhưng thực hành thiền ở đây đó chính là hãy nắm giữ ở những cái bài toán, những cái câu đố đó. Hãy nắm giữ những cái thứ mà cần phải giải quyết, cần phải sửa chữa. Và việc thực hành đó chính là hãy đặt nó xuống. Hãy đặt những cái câu đố, những cái bài toán và những cái điều cần phải giải quyết đó xuống.
So in meditation we find stable position to put the body down.
Và trong thực hành thiền, chúng ta hãy tìm một cái vị trí thật là vững chãi, thật là ổn định. Và hãy đặt cơ thể của mình xuống.
We find our breath and we find this awareness itself, experiencing itself at this present moment.
Chúng ta hãy tìm kiếm hơi thở. Chúng ta hãy tìm kiếm sự nhận biết, sự tỉnh thức trên chính nó. Và hãy trải nghiệm chính nó trong khoảnh khắc hiện tại này.
Just sitting, just breathing, just being aware.
Chỉ ngồi, chỉ thở và chỉ nhận biết.
This just sitting, just breathing, just being aware accepts everything, includes everything.
chị ngồi, chị hít thở và chị nhận biết. Mặc kệ mọi thứ, cho dù mọi thứ xảy ra.
There's nothing to get, to achieve in this practice. But there's also nothing that needs to be gotten rid of, nothing that needs to be avoided.
Không có gì để cố gắng đạt được trong quá trình thực hành thiền này. Cũng không cần tránh bất cứ điều gì.
Finding the heart at this present moment. Finding just sitting, just breathing, just being aware.
Hãy tìm kiếm cái tâm, cái trái tim ngay lúc này. Hãy tìm chỉ ngồi, chỉ thở và chỉ nhận biết.
As we go deeper into our meditation, become more interested in this feeling of joy in the body, this feeling of affection towards the body at this present moment, the heart and the breath at this present moment.
Và khi chúng ta đi sâu hơn trong việc thực hành thiền thì chúng ta sẽ thích thú vào những cái cảm giác của hỷ lạc trên thân. Thì cái cảm giác này nó là cái sự phân tâm, nó là sự phân tán, cái sự chú ý, sự nhận biết về trái tim, về hơi thở ngay tại khoảnh khắc hiện tại.
Give all of your kind and sincere attention to the body just sitting here, breathing and being aware.
Với tất cả sự tử tế, cái sự thân thành và sự chân thành, hãy quay về, hãy ngồi, chỉ hít thở và nhận biết.
There's nothing here about force. There's nothing here about control. It's about letting go of what we want to control. It's about letting go of what we get involved with. Just at this moment, to come back to breathing and being aware, and to take a real, genuine interest, curious, in just breathing and being aware.
Không có cái gì ở đây để mà phải kiểm soát, cũng không có cái gì ở đây để mà phải cố gắng, phải bắt buộc cả. Hãy buông bỏ những cái điều mà chúng ta đang kiểm soát. Hãy buông bỏ, hãy đặt xuống tất cả những cái điều mà chúng ta đang tham gia vào. Chỉ ngay trong khoảnh khắc hiện tại này, hãy quay về với hơi thở và nhận biết. Cũng bỏ qua những cái quan tâm, những cái thích thú, những cái tò mò. Chỉ hít thở và chỉ nhận biết.
No real or false, true or fake. It's simply to not get stuck. Continue just breathing and being aware. Simply to not be trapped in true or false, real or fake, good or bad. Just breathing and being aware.
Không có cái điều gì là thật hay giả ở đây. Cũng không có cái gì là tốt hay xấu. Hãy tiếp tục hít thở và nhận biết. Hãy đơn giản đừng để mắc bẫy vào những cái điều mà mình nghĩ là thật hay không thật, hay những điều tốt hay xấu. Chỉ đơn giản là hít thở và nhận biết.
breathe in a way that opens your heart and mind to enjoy this just breathing, just being aware.
Thở như là cái cách để mở rộng cái trái tim và tâm trí để tận hưởng chỉ hít thở và nhận biết.
We do find that there is a mental experience or a physical experience that we start to get involved in or stuck on. We can say in our own mind, that's not my business. That's not for me to worry about. That's not for me to get involved with. And we come back to just breathing, just being aware, giving our kind attention, our gentle attention to the whole body at this present moment.
Nếu chúng ta thực sự đang tìm kiếm những cái trải nghiệm về thân hoặc về tâm, tức là chúng ta đang bị tham gia vào, chúng ta đang bị mắc kẹt vào Đó là cái trải nghiệm của tôi, và đó là bạn đang bị tham gia vào những cái điều đó. Hãy quay trở lại với việc hít thở và nhận biết. Hãy chú ý một cách thật tử tế, hãy chú ý bằng sự nhẹ nhàng. Hãy đặt sự chú ý này trên toàn bộ cơ thể.
The more that we can let go of this attempt to control the mind and control our experience, the more that we can unravel this knot of self-attachment and desire that has built up to this point.
Chúng ta càng buông bỏ được cái sự chú ý vào cái sự kiểm soát tâm trí và kiểm soát những cái trải nghiệm, kiểm soát những cái sự thực hành, thì chúng ta càng buông bỏ được cái sự dính mắc vào bản thân, dính mắc vào những cái mong muốn.
Simply opening up our heart to this moment and feeling fully whatever there is to feel in the body.
Hãy đơn giản mở rộng trái tim ngay tại khoảnh khắc hiện tại. Hãy cảm nhận một cách trọn vẹn bất cứ điều gì mà chúng ta có thể cảm nhận trên cơ thể.
This sense of curiosity and exploration is really vital, really essential to our meditation practice. So let go of that fear or judgment about what you are experiencing and start to become more interested, more curious about what's happening right now.
Những cái cảm giác tò mò, thích thú hay là trông đợi là cái điều thiết yếu trong quá trình thực hành thiền. Hãy buông bỏ những cái sự sợ hãi hay là sự điều chỉnh về những trải nghiệm. Điều này sẽ mang đến những cái sự thích thú, tò mò về cái sự về những cái việc về cái điều đang diễn ra ngay bây giờ.
Please repeat after me.
Bây giờ hãy lặp lại theo tôi.
May I be happy.
May I be happy.
Oh, in Vietnamese.
Sorry. Nguyện cho tôi được hạnh phúc.
May I be free from worry.
Nguyện cho tôi được tự do khỏi mọi lo lắng.
May I be free from fear.
Nguyện cho tôi được tự do khỏi sự sợ.
May I be healthy.
Nguyện cho tôi được khỏe mạnh.
May I be gentle.
Nguyện cho tôi được tử tế. Nguyện cho tôi được nhẹ nhàng.
May I be generous.
Nguyện cho tôi được sự tử tế.
May I be patient.
Nguyện cho tôi sự kiên nhẫn.
May I be free from physical suffering.
Nguyện cho tôi tự do khỏi mọi đau khổ trên thân.
May I be free from mental suffering.
Nguyện cho tôi được tự do khỏi mọi đau khổ trong tâm.
May I be free.
Nguyện cho tôi được tự do.
Feeling this loving kindness, this loving friendliness in our own heart, we can now bring to mind someone that we love, someone that we care about a lot. You don't need to repeat this, just
Bạn không cần phải lặp lại điều này. Bây giờ hãy cảm nhận cái tâm từ, cảm nhận cái tình yêu thương đang trào dâng trong tim mình. Và hãy cảm nhận cái tình yêu thương đối với gia đình. Và hãy hướng cái tâm từ này đến với cái người mà bạn yêu quý, đến cái người mà những cái người thân yêu của bạn, những cái người mà bạn muốn trải tâm tình.
okay, you can repeat after me.
Và bây giờ hãy lặp lại cho tôi.
May those that I love be happy and at peace.
Nguyện cho những người thân yêu được bình an và hạnh phúc.
May those that I love be safe and free from fear.
Nguyện cho những người thân yêu được bình an, được an toàn và tự do khỏi sợ hãi.
May those people who I barely know be happy and safe.
Nguyện cho những người mà tôi biết được hạnh phúc và bình an.
May those people that I don't really know be happy and safe.
Nguyện cho tất cả những người mà tôi không biết cũng được hạnh phúc và bình an.
May those people who I have difficulty with be free from suffering.
Nguyện cho những cái người mà tôi đối mặt, tôi gặp khó khăn với sự đối mặt, những người mà tôi không ưa thích, nguyện cho họ được hạnh phúc và bình an.
May those people who I do not like be happy and free from their suffering.
Nguyện cho những người mà tôi thực sự không thích, nguyện cho họ được hạnh phúc và thoát khỏi mọi đau khổ.
May those people who I have difficulties with be happy and free from their sufferings.
Nguyện cho những người đã gây ra đau khổ cho tôi, nguyện cho họ được bình an và thoát khỏi một đau khổ.
Okay, I now invite everyone to bring their hands together, and we will finish our meditation with sharing out the blessings and sharing out the merit from our practice together in all directions for all beings.
Và bây giờ thì xin mời tất cả quý vị cùng chắp hai tay lại và cùng thực hành với thiền sư để có thể kết thúc buổi thiền ngày hôm nay. Chúng ta sẽ bày tỏ lòng thành kính đối với Đức Phật và chia sẻ phước, những cái phước lành mà chúng ta thực hành trong suốt những cái thời thiền, chúng ta chia sẻ cho tất cả chúng sinh.
You can chant along with me or just try to share out, expand out your heart, your mind, your peace, your blessings towards all beings.
Chúng ta có thể cùng tụng niệm với Ngài, hoặc là chúng ta chỉ đơn giản là lắng nghe và mở rộng trái tim và chia sẻ cái phước lành, cái trải nghiệm, chia sẻ những cái phước thiện này đến với tất cả chúng sinh.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagava araham samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampano sugato lokavidu Anutaro purisa dhammasarati Sata deva manusanam Buddho bhagavati Svakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanaiko Pachatam veditabo vinuti Supatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Ushupatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Nayapatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Samichipatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Yadidam chatari porisa yugani Atta Parisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sawaka Sango Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anutaram Punyaketam Lokasati Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami Dutiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. We can all make 3 bows.
Chúng ta có thể lạy 3 lạy.
Okay, so thank you all so much for being here and for showing up to this community practice.
Cảm ơn tất cả quý vị đã cùng có mặt ở đây và cùng thực hành một thời thiền nay.
I will try to make arrangements so that we can also have 3 meetings next week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time, at the 8 p.m. time.
Ngài nói là Ngài sẽ sắp xếp để chúng ta có những buổi thực hành đều đặn vào buổi tối thứ Hai, thứ Tư và thứ Sáu và khung giờ 8 giờ tối đều đặn như thế này.
But in your life, simply try to remember doing good deeds, being aware of what's happening right now, and being willing to let go of what we grab onto, whatever we get stuck on. Be willing to let it go, whether it's positive or negative. Willing to let go. Willing to refresh and restart.
Và Ngài cũng dặn chúng ta là trong cuộc sống đời thường á, thì chúng ta hãy cố gắng làm nhiều thiện pháp và chúng ta hãy luôn hiện diện ở khoảnh khắc hiện tại, luôn nhận biết cái gì đang diễn ra, và bất cứ khi nào chúng ta gặp khó khăn, chúng ta bị mắc kẹt vào một cái vấn đề nào đó, chúng ta giữ chặt một cái vấn đề, một cái chuyện gì đó, cho dù là nó tốt hay nó xấu, nó dù chúng ta gặp thuận lợi hay là khó khăn, thì chúng ta hãy buông xả, hãy đặt nó xuống và hãy bắt đầu lại, hãy làm mới lại thân tâm, và chúng ta hãy duy trì những sự thực hành này.
If you ever have a question or you want to connect with me, please feel that my door is open and you can reach out to me in English or Vietnamese, and I am happy to try and help and try and support you in if I can.
Và quý vị có thể là kết nối với Ngài bằng cách là chúng ta có thể đặt câu hỏi, hoặc là chúng ta có thể chia sẻ những trải nghiệm. Và Ngài nói là Ngài luôn sẵn sàng đón nhận, và Ngài có thể nhờ phiên dịch để mà đọc những cái câu hỏi của mọi người, hoặc nghe những câu hỏi của mọi người. Mọi người có thể nói bằng tiếng Anh hoặc là bằng tiếng Việt, và Ngài sẽ sẵn sàng giải đáp và có thể hỗ trợ trong khả năng của Ngài.
Okay. Thank you for being here.
Cảm ơn tất cả quý vị đã có mặt ở đây.
And thank you, Tao. Thank you, Tao, for translation. Okay. Mo Phật. Bye bye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Okay, so everyone joining in the live stream here on YouTube, we're going to take mindfulness break, just a few minutes, take some time to stretch and maybe make some tea or light some incense, whatever you need to do. And in a few moments, we're going to come back in English without Vietnamese translation. And we're going to be looking this morning at the teachings of Zen Master Linji. Okay, so take a few moments to stretch and get some tea or light some incense. And then we will come back together and also meet on the Discord for our studying of the Zen Teachings of Master Linji. Okay? Okay, everyone, here in the Discord, good to see you all here. We're going to take a few minutes to get comfortable, to get settled in, to stretch, and then we will start with our class in a few minutes, okay? Hello, everyone. Great to see so many people here and quiet as well, or maybe I can't hear anyway. Hello? Okay, I can hear now.
Hello, Bhante. Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so much excitement, even Discord couldn't keep up with it. Great, so we're going to start in just a few moments. If anyone has any incense recommendations, I would be very appreciative of that. You can send me that in a message or something.
What incense are you using today?
This is just my mom's incense, and she's out, so it's the last of it. That's why I'm burning these little tiny sticks.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know what it is, but it smells pretty good.
This balsam cedar incense that is absolutely amazing.
Okay. Yeah, this is the right place to ask about incense, right? A gathering of people meditating, interested in meditation. Okay. So, welcome everyone. I'm glad that you are all here and making the choice to show up to this event today, this gathering of fellow practitioners and people on the path. So we are live here on Discord in our group gathering space, and we are also live on a YouTube. So if you have any issues on the Discord, you can hop over to the YouTube. The link's in the announcement, and should be able to watch easily that way, conveniently that way. So today we are going to spend a few moments to meditate together, to practice together, to settle in, and then we are going to continue where we left off yesterday with the teachings of Zen Master Linji. So a lot of people, I'm sure, have heard about Zen, Chan, and this idea of Zen is about the nature of truth, or the nature of reality as experienced directly through the mind, not depending on words or phrases. Okay, a direct seeing, a direct knowing through the mind itself. And in Zen, there are many different ways of expression. A lot of different. You have Thich Nhat Hanh. You have Japanese Zen, and how that's appeared in the modern Western world. All this is pretty normal. But there's also a deeper side of Zen that's a little bit sharper, little bit more cutting to the point, and about cutting through the path, cutting through thinking, cutting through the whole idea, the whole story of someone, of something, of getting enlightenment, of there being anything to get at all. So this is the what we're going to be looking at, these kinds of teachings. Okay? So starting by getting comfortable and getting settled in, go ahead and find a a comfortable and stable meditation position for your body. All right? Doesn't need to be anything special, but just comfortable and stable position for your body at this moment. And also find a position for your mind. So it's a certain quality of you're interested, you have an intention to be with the breath, to be with the body, to be in this present moment, and not to go somewhere else, not to get something out of this experience, but kind of to face it. So we bring that quality of mind to it. So finding that position for the body, finding that position for the mind. We can start with a few deep breaths. Okay, so breathing in deeply, you bring the mind home, bring it inside. We're not looking outside. There's not some goal that we're moving towards, or some object or sense media things outside that we're focusing on, but bringing our attention, bringing our awareness inside. And so breathing deeply can kind of help us to do that. So we can feel the breath in the body. We can begin to notice that the body is here. Feel the heart, feel the lungs, feel the body as a whole sitting here right now. And notice what kind of machinations of mind, the habit pattern of mind that comes up. The maybe the tendency to desire something, or to make a judgment, or to avoid something. Notice that, but don't get stuck on it. Come back to the noticing itself, coming back to breathing, being aware of what's happening right now. And be curious about that, what's happening right now in the body. Take a look, be interested, not through your thinking, but through the noticing itself, the experiencing itself. And if you can't do any of that, just sit and breathe. Breathe and be aware of the body. And breathe as deeply as you need to. See how much you can experience or notice, or kind of go through mentally or physically at this moment, and not react to, but be willing to let go of it, be willing to give it up. See how much you can be aware of without getting stuck on it, without attaching to it, but just breathing and being aware at this moment. Let the body relax, the mind relax, not going anywhere, not doing anything. Just sitting, breathing, and being aware. Today we're going to be looking at, as far as I know, the teachings that are the highest standard in pointing to the truth itself. And where we left off yesterday, this teacher said, as long as you seek something, it can only lead to suffering. Better to do nothing. As long as you seek something, it can only lead to suffering. Better to do nothing. This moment, just sitting, just breathing, just being aware. Okay, so you're invited to continue your meditation as you listen to these teachings, but even more so, you're invited to be comfortable. And these teachings are meant to strike as deeply as they possibly can. So, attempting to grasp or to understand the teachings from your intellect, from your conceptual mind, is going to be, it's going to not allow you to really get the benefit from it and the wisdom out of it. In the same way, these teachings a lot of times reference particular cultural aspects of Buddhism or Buddhist ideas that you might not have a background to understand. So as much as possible, I will try to explain what I can explain. Some things I also don't have a background to understand. So really the most important component is this open-hearted listening. And at certain points, we will take a break to maybe share about our experience or ask a question in relation to what's pointed to. Okay, but the emphasis is on that listening from the heart, listening from the body. Okay? Reading from the teachings of Zen Master Linji. Followers of the way. The true Buddha is without form. The true Dharma is without characteristics. Buddha here has a meaning of the true enlightenment, the true embodiment of enlightenment, and the true Dharma is like the true truth, the true deeper truth about reality, about life. Followers of the way, people on the path wanting to know about the truth. The true Buddha is without form. The true Dharma is without characteristics. You are striking poses and donning attitudes, all because of a mere phantom, so a false appearance. Even if in your seeking you got something, it would all be the work of wild fox spirits. Certainly not the true Buddha. It would be the understanding of the non-Buddhists. A true student of the way never concerns themselves with the Buddha, never concerns themselves with bodhisattvas or enlightened beings, never concerns themselves with the blessings of the threefold world. Far removed, alone and free, they are never entangled in things. Heaven and earth could turn upside down, and they would not be perturbed, they would not be disturbed. All the enlightened beings of the 10 directions could appear before them, and their mind would not feel an instant of joy. The 3 realms of hell could suddenly confront them, and their mind would not feel an instant of alarm. Why are they like this? Why is someone who is truly on the path like this? Because they know that all things in the phenomenal world are empty of characteristics. When conditions change, they come into existence. So when conditions change, when conditions come about, certain things come into existence. This threefold world is nothing but mind. So what is this threefold world? That is the world of desire, the world of form, and the world of formlessness. Okay, the world of no form. So this threefold world of desire, form, body form, physical form, material form, and no form, no structure. The threefold world is nothing but mind. The 10,000 phenomena are nothing but consciousness. These dreams, phantoms, empty flowers, why trouble yourself trying to grasp them? Okay, so when this term, the 10,000 phenomena, it means all things, all experiences, all happenings, physical happenings, experiences in the body, experiences in the mind. 10,000 phenomena is all happenings, okay? The 10,000 phenomena, the 10,000, all the different things that happen are nothing but consciousness. Maybe we can say nothing but awareness itself. And now Zen Master Linji labels these 10,000 things as these dreams, phantoms, empty flowers. Why trouble yourself trying to grasp them? So in a poetic way, but also in a kind of wise way, this Zen master is pointing to all of those things that you get stuck on, all of those ideas, all of those experiences, all of those stories that you tell yourself, that you get stuck on, that you get trapped in. They are nothing more than dreams, phantoms, empty flowers. Why trouble yourself trying to grasp them? So why trouble yourself trying to control this experience? Why trouble yourself attaching to these things, these phenomena that are nothing more than dreams, phantoms, empty flowers? So why trouble yourself? There is only you, followers of the way. That means people who really are on this path of truth. This person in front of my eyes now, listening to the truth, who enters fire without being burned, enters water without drowning, enters the three realms of hell as though strolling in a garden, enters the realm of the hungry ghosts and the animals, but undergoes no punishment. How can they do all this? Because they are not averse to anything. There is only you, followers of the way. This person in front of my eyes now, listening to these truths, who enters fire without being burned, enters water without drowning, enters the three realms of hell as though strolling in a garden, enters the realm of the hungry ghosts and the animals, but undergoes no punishment. How can they do this? How can someone walk through hell as if they're strolling in the park? How can we find ourselves in all of these difficult, complicated situations and be unburdened, unstuck, untrapped? Because we are not averse to anything. We do not reject anything. We do not set ourselves up against anything. Not to be averse, but to be aware. While you love sages, while you love wise people, loathe common mortals, you are bobbing up and down in the sea of birth and death. Earthly desires exist because of the mind. If no mind, what can earthly desires fix on? If no mind, what can earthly desires fix on, get stuck on? Do not labor to discriminate, to seize on marks. Do not put forth a strenuous effort to pick and choose, to seize or to grab onto an appearance. Then, without effort, you will gain the way in a moment, in an instant. If you rush off frantically on side roads, studying in hopes of gaining something, then for 3 kalpas, for these 3 very, very long periods of time, infinite amount of time, you will remain in the realm of birth and death. Better to do nothing. Just sit in your seat here, in this place, with your legs crossed. Better to do that than chasing after anything. So, anyone have any questions or comments so far? Steve, you want to say something?
Apologies, Bhante. I was just adjusting my camera.
Oh, it's okay. Well, you said something anyway, right? Anyone have a question or a comment about what we've read so far? So we'll keep going. If you rush off frantically on side roads, studying in hopes of gaining something, getting something out of your experience, out of your efforts, then for 3 amsakya kalpas, so that's, kalpa is like a very, very, very long period of time. It's in Buddhist science, or whatever you want to call it, it's like a kalpa is the time from the beginning of a universe to the ending of a universe. So it's a very, very long period of time, right? So if you rush off frantically on side roads, studying in hopes of gaining something, then for 3 universe periods of time, you will remain in the realm of birth and death. And this Zen practice, this Buddhist practice, is all about stopping this wheel of birth and death, cutting through this trap of being subject to birth and death, subject to arising and passing away. So rather than rushing around, trying to do something, trying to gain something, better to do nothing. Okay? And at the very least, often, it's better to do nothing. Just sit here in your seat with your legs crossed. Followers of the way. When students come here from various regions, and we have finished greeting one another as host and guest, the student will make some remark to test the teacher. The student comes out with these tricky words and thrusts them into the teacher's face, as if to say, "See if you can understand this." If you were the teacher and realized that this was just an environment, and you grabbed it and threw it down a hole, then the student would act normal again, and after that would ask for the teacher's instruction. The teacher would then snatch that up too, and treat it as he did the earlier remark. The student then says, "Very wise, a truly great teacher." The teacher says, "You certainly can't tell good from bad." So this here is particularly pointing to this Zen way of going about things, where the real truth cannot be gained in some idea, it cannot be gained in some experience. You cannot accumulate enlightenment. The highest enlightenment is not separate or more true than the lowest level of enlightenment. Okay, but reality as it is here in this present moment is vividly true and alive. So I've put it this way before in my life about, if you want to check if a teacher is enlightened, okay, if you want to check about some teachers, level of enlightenment or level of wisdom and experience, you don't go about it by asking some kind of intellectual question, try to find out if they're an academic or not. That's different. This is, probably shouldn't say this, but give them a slap in the face, okay? And you'll find out if they're enlightened, okay? Because there's a saying from another kind of Zen practitioner and Zen teacher that if I can disturb you, if I can make you angry, then you have neither wisdom nor samadhi. Samadhi is like this power of collected mind, that absorbed mind in the truth, in reality. So if I can make you angry, then you have neither samadhi nor wisdom. So you certainly don't have enlightenment. So this is to the quality of Zen. Now, it wouldn't be right to go up to a teacher and give them a slap in the face, and I'm not encouraging anybody to slap me in the face because I'm definitely not enlightened. So you don't need to try that. But we can we can play and we can show up in a creative, contemplative way to kind of check what's going on here. Is this person who you are going to for teaching, are they stuck on some idea? Are they stuck on some concept? Are they rigid in some way? Or are they flexible and open and spontaneous and really is their wisdom found in the here and now, or does it rely on some kind of conditionality? And so this is what that's referring to. So I'll reread that again. And in the Zen canon, or this Zen history, that was the practice, is that, you have this Zen master, this monk who's been a monk for a very long time and has this deep understanding of reality, this like piercing wisdom. And because of that, has a temple or is wandering around, and people can sense that this person has an understanding, so they're invited to teach or what have you. So a regular Zen monk, or a follower of the way, doesn't necessarily need to be a monk, but they will go to these masters and they will seek out their wisdom and their teaching. Okay, and a lot of times these Zen masters have a particular temple, and the Zen monks will kind of wander around and try to find a teacher that can support them. As we can say it like to wander around and look for someone who has the wisdom eye, the Dharma eye. They can see with Dharma. They can see from a position of truth rather than their self-fixation, this me, mine, and it's tough. And we're always, the difference between, we can say, a master and a normal person is that the master is always awake, always aware. It doesn't matter if they're tired. It doesn't matter if they are hungry. Or stressed or worried. That wisdom, that piercing wisdom, is always at the forefront. That non-conditionality, not being dependent on conditions, is always there, is always alive. So they can act and react according to the sickness at any time. They've always got medicine on hand because they have the non-discriminatory mind at the heart of their being, at the heart of their living. So we can also touch that when the conditions come together, when our heart and our mind and everything is aligned, and we're here in this present moment, we can touch that, we can feel that. But when we're tired and someone comes that wakes us up at the wrong time, we lose it quickly, right? We can't even be gentle, let alone wise, right? At that moment. So the more that we show up and we investigate the teachings and the practice and the community, the more that we can develop this capacity to always act out of wisdom, to always act out of compassion. And really we can develop a familiarity. We can develop a relationship with this non-discriminatory mind. So mostly it's this event and it's that event, and that didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, and so now this, and that, and we're always relying on that. We're always stuck on this tangent, and we rely on that. We have this great familiarity with that, so we're stuck on it. We're dependent on it, and we go back to that. We have this reliance, this familiarity. We like what we're familiar with. As we begin to practice non-discrimination, and non-discrimination with other people, and listen to the teachings that come from a place of compassion and non-discriminatory mind, we can develop a familiarity with that. And then in various situations, various places, various times, we can come back to that, we can rely on that, we can also use it, okay, for our benefit, for the benefit of others. Followers of the way. When students come here from various regions, and we have finished greeting one another as host and guest, the student will make some remark to test the teacher, some expression. The student comes out with these tricky words and thrusts them into the teacher's face, as if to say, "See if you can understand this." If you were the teacher and realized that this was just an environment, this is just conditions, This is just a conditional happening experience. And you grabbed it. You grabbed the environment. You grabbed the current conditionality that we find ourselves in and threw it down a hole. Then the student would act normal again. Okay? Not to be so silly, not to be so ridiculous. And after that would ask for the teacher's instruction. Okay? Would ask to get some advice, to get some support. Happening experience. Throw it down a hole. The teacher would then snatch that up too. Okay, now the new environment, snatch that up too and treat it as they did the earlier remark. So for a Zen teacher like this, everything is a kind of tricky word. And the practice of the Zen teacher is not to be tricked in any situation, any conditions, in any environment. The student then says, very wise, a truly great teacher. The teacher says, you certainly can't tell good from bad. Says you are a fool because you have clung onto this idea, this fixed notion of good and bad. Okay, so so you actually can't tell good from bad because the good and bad of Zen is in the non-discriminatory mind, we can say. But even that is, heresy, blasphemy, so to speak. Now, but this doesn't apply to everything because there's something that builds up to this in this example. First of all, the follower of a way and a student. So someone who is willing to be in a position of a student. Not everyone is wise enough to realize the value of being a student, what you can get from showing up and being a student. So it says here, followers of the way, when students come here from various regions, and we have finished greeting one another as host and guest. So if you are the guest, you are the guest. If you are the host, you are the host. If you are coming to learn something from a teacher, you should understand that you're the guest, that you're not the teacher. But some people, you don't even have that place, that foundation of simplicity. Okay, so it's from this place of simplicity, not complicatedness, that we can test each other, that we can come out with a tricky word, that we can be a student, that we can be a host, that we can be a guest. All right? But if we are, if our mind is just complicated and multi-layered and multifaceted and everything, no, you couldn't practice like this. You can't interact like this because you're stuck in a mind that hasn't reached a point of subtlety where you can even discern between host and guest. You don't even know where you are. You don't even know what's going on, and now you're running around with a red-hot poker and thinking that you're going to get somewhere with it. So it comes back to the beginning point, the simplicity of this present moment. It's not complicated. It's not even the non-discriminatory mind. It's not any words or phrases. It's coming home. Then we can play. But if you can't come home, then you can't play. You can't meet someone because you don't know what a host is. You don't know what a guest is. You're visiting someone else's house and you think it's yours. So we have to be careful to come back to simplicity and sincerity and not just, I'm going to be Zen or I'm going to poke around or be tricky. It comes from a place of simplicity that we're able to practice like this. Again, suppose the teacher comes out with a certain chunk of environment and dangles it in front of the student's face. So suppose the teacher comes out with a certain, emphasizing a certain aspect of the conditionality that we find ourselves in right now, okay? And dangles it in front of the student's face. The student sees through this and at every step acts the master, refusing to be misled by the environment. So the student sees through this conditionality and at every step meets the master, faces the master, faces the mind itself, rather than being misled by the environment or being misled by that chunk of conditionality that was just presented, that was just brought up. You face to face, you're not misled by the conditionality that's brought up, the environment that we find ourselves in, the conditionality that we find ourselves in. The teacher then reveals half of his body, whereupon the student gives a shout. I couldn't say much about this. The teacher now enters the place where there are all kinds of differences and distinctions, battering the student around with words. The student says, "This old bald head who can't tell good from bad." The teacher exclaims in admiration, "A true and proper follower of the way." Okay, so I will share something about this. So we have a body, okay? And truth and the spiritual path largely relates to our body, not just our mind, but in fact, the body is not separate from the mind, and this body is not separate from the body of reality. Okay, so let's say the teacher reveals half of their body. That is that the teacher steps into the situation with a degree of embodiment, face to face. You're in the room with this person, okay, and they step forth. Okay, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they have a sword, whatever it is, who knows, but they reveal part of their body, they reveal their embodiment, they show up and they step forward. And then the student gives a shout, "Hey, what's going on here?" It makes a noise, probably not what's going on here. The teacher now enters the place where there are all kinds of differences and distinctions. So the teacher goes down into this place, this realm of all kinds of differences and distinctions, all kinds of conflict and ideas and back and forth and self and other, and batters the student around with words. What are you doing? Why are you acting this way? What is your condition? Why do you think this way? Why do you think that way? Etc., etc., etc. Now, the student says, "This old bald head who can't tell good from bad." So the student says, you're stuck in conditionality. You're overwhelmed in right and wrong. You're overwhelmed. You're lost in this world of differences and distinctions. The teacher exclaims in admiration, in appreciation of that student, "A true and proper follower of the way." So what does this mean? Well, part of it is that it means you don't give up no matter what. That the truth is the truth no matter what. It doesn't matter what people say to you. It doesn't matter what kind of realm or world or conditions you find yourself in of differences and conflict, and someone's coming at you and saying, "This is the real true story and you're the bad one," etc. But you don't falter. You aren't confused in the midst of confusion. You, as Linji said, you walk through hell as if you're walking through the park. You go into the realm of the lower realms and the upper realms without being affected, okay? Without being confused or stuck by pleasure or pain. Any idea about this? Any question? Comment? Christina, you must have something to add here.
Question.
Well, I think when you say when you walk through fire, that if you really know what you are, no, I don't know how to explain it. If you have found the way, it doesn't matter if someone, what happens around you.
That's right. If you I need to turn my mic down a little bit. I'm usually not this loud. Probably. So, that's right. If you find the way, if you know the way, if you know the truth, then you rely on the truth. You don't rely on the conditionality, the conditions that you find yourself in. And it doesn't matter what those conditions are. You don't fall into, oh, you're right, I'm a bad person. Oh, you're right, I'm really this story of myself. I have to depend on conditions. I have to rely on right and wrong, good and bad. I have to be stuck. That there's some reason why I have to be stuck on the intellect, why I have to be stuck in desire or attachment. No, there's not. Even if you're walking through fire, even if you're walking through hell. Now, this is a deeper experience of it, and you can experience that. And one example would be the most famous picture that's ever been taken, the monk. Tick tick. I wish I'd know his name, and I'm going to say his name in one moment. I went to where he did that actually in Vietnam. Thich Quang Duc. Thich Quang Duc. Many of you have probably seen his action, the fire lotus. Okay, this lotus of compassion to bring awareness to this war, this violence, this horribleness that was going on in Vietnam. Okay, and you can see in that image, in that video as well, the monk is just sitting. Okay, he's not being burned by fire, period. And so in this way, that can be an act of compassion. That would not be a, this, well, do you think, are monks supposed to burn themselves, or is this, against Buddhism, or is this endorsing harming yourself or something in some way? It's not endorsing any of that. It's a lotus of compassion to not be burned by fire. Now, can you do that? Can I do that? No, but it's possible. And so these teachings, even though we, it doesn't mean that we immediately enter into the realm of enlightenment. Maybe that is what it means. But we can start to familiarize ourselves with the truth, and that the truth is reliable and supportive for whatever we want to do. Any place, any time, it applies. It's relevant. Someone else wanted to say something? Thank you, Christina.
Someone else, but then I'll jump in. You kind of almost touched on this, but this seems like it would have some implications for how we think about justice, and how do we. It seems like a very fine line where we talk about, like, diving into this definition of right and wrong, and seeing also that, there are things that, do cause harm, and how to balance this, both this sense of enlightenment, and both this sense that there are things that are going on in the world.
So my understanding about this is that Vietnamese speakers cannot understand English if they don't understand English. So if you try to, it's your language, it's true to you, it's the language that you use, and you try to communicate, you try to use that to talk to someone who doesn't understand it, you don't bring up the non-discriminatory mind. You don't bring up, well, what's right, what's wrong. That's not what it's about. That's just to be a fool. So it's the same way with something like justice. Okay? What is justice? Justice is compassion. All suffering embraced and faced in a compassionate way, that's justice. That's getting justice. Skillful action to understand and solve suffering and the causes of suffering and the causes that lead to people acting the way that they do, that's justice. But in this case, it's really about eating rice and drinking water. The way that we're talking about it in this kind of high-minded way, it's toilet paper to wipe your bum with. That's what Linji said in our last session. You can go and watch the last video of this. But he went even further than that. Linji said all of the Buddhist teachings, all of the vehicles of Buddhism, the Mahayana, the Theravada, the Vajrayana, all the monks, all the whole shebang is nothing more than toilet paper to wipe your rear. Okay, or a bidet. A bidet's better. Okay. So the point here is that this is to support you to detach from your self-fixated thinking and to step into doing your best to be taking care of your life, exactly as your life is right here at this moment. That's how I understand it. And the particular practice of doing that is open to interpretation. It's open to flexibility. Do your best is the answer. And it's very practical. So one of the issues is that we get into our mind about some complex ethical or moral or social or political issue. Well, you can't eat what's not on your plate. So what's actually on your plate? What are you actually able to be involved with? Who are you actually able to connect with, and who's in front of you right now? Not who's in front of this dream that you've created, this phantom, that you're working yourself up to. So it's coming back to home. It's coming back to this present moment, and with the greatest of our discernment, the greatest of our wisdom, our compassion, acting to take care. And so we can kind of hold the relative and the absolute together. Okay, but for most of us, we're a little bit too consumed with the relative. We're a little bit too, we only know about the material. And so Linji here is emphasizing the absolute, but also the material and how they come together, how they can support one another, how they are also not separate in any way. You have some follow-up for this, Jonathan? Something to add?
Think about that for a bit, but I don't have anything immediately.
Yeah, the simplest answer is just, be practical. And in the realm of like intellectual interpretation or philosophy, the understanding of the philosophy, it's up to you. That's up to you. That's how you're going to have to live your life, and try not to be a nuisance to other people with that.
Yeah, appreciate that. I think my observation is just that we have culturally have a tendency to ascribe an extreme level of right and wrong to a variety of things that people do, and there's a little bit of effort to kind of start taking into account circumstances and the things that people are experiencing and the culture that we've been brought up into, but there's still like a very ingrained idea that there is like a reason to say that if somebody has done something quote unquote wrong, because like that idea kind of dissolves a little bit, but that they are they are the thing that they've done.
So in those kinds of cases and in those kinds of things, on your side, do your best, and definitely understand that the ways that people act and people themselves, it's just it's conditional. So why am I, a Buddhist monk? Is it because I flew from Mars and made a self decision I'm going to be a monk? No. It's all kinds of causes and conditions. It's all kinds of environmental factors. It's the people who I've interacted with up to now. It's everything. It's all these different aspects coming together. So the point is that when we recognize a great quote-unquote injustice has taken place, or a great act of unskillfulness has taken place or is taking place, the practice is to see with our wisdom. So to see with our wider view and take care of the situation according to that, rather than that small-minded view of a self or a someone or some kind of isolated event. It's not someone, it's not something. There's no such thing as an isolated event. That's just pretend. That's just superstition. There's no such thing as an isolated event. So when we have something like the modern American justice system, quote-unquote justice system, it pretends that there's a someone and there's a something. There's an isolated event. So someone did something, let's torture them, period. I mean, that's the idea. Let's hurt them as much as we can. And so that's not going to solve suffering. It's just doing more unskillful actions. So when we broaden our perspective, when we broaden our vision, then we can see things with wisdom, and we can do our best to take care of them in a skillful, compassionate, and wise way. That's how I approach this. So, like, I love the Zen and the craziness and the wildness and just like fully non-discriminatory mind and play and freedom. But when it comes to situations in life, eating, sleeping, defecating, you do your best. When it comes to being a parent or a sister or a brother or an uncle or a monk, a meditation teacher or a student, you should just do your best. A friend, you should just do your best. And use the conditions, use everything else to support you in doing your best, not to lock you into one way of doing things or one way of thinking about things. That's how I understand it. So we have one question on the YouTube from Jess. Hopefully Jess is still here. Jess says, when you were talking about goals and not having goals, can you have a trajectory of the idea of where you want to be without having a destination? Not to be reborn, for an example. Yeah, we could, I call this, I've heard this called like, intention. So you can have an intention, but even better is a compassionate aspiration. So you have an aspiration, you have an intention to do something for the benefit, advancement, development of yourself and others, not in pleasure or in avoiding pain, but in merit. So we do good deeds and there's a good effect. We plant seeds and food grows. We can eat it. So doing and offering our actions, having this compassionate aspiration to benefit and develop and advance ourselves and others in terms of merit and wisdom, a deeper understanding and a good effect from our good deeds. Okay. So let's see here. I think we'll read a couple more pages here, a little bit more. There are some teachers around who can't distinguish crooked from straight. When a student comes and asks about Bodhi or nirvana, Bodhi is like awakening, or nirvana, about the threefold body, or about environment and wisdom, those blind old teachers start explaining to the student. So giving them this kind of detailed explanation. When the student curses at them, they pick up their stick and hit him, saying, "Such rude language." If you have a teacher like that, they lack the eyes to begin with. They lack the Dharma eye to begin with. They have no cause to get angry at others. Okay, so saying they have no good reason to use their anger, basically. So the teaching here is that what does it mean by a blind old teacher? It means someone who is explaining the details or explaining the relative, kind of talking about what you have in your mouth or how to take it out of your mouth, rather than taking it out of your mouth, or I guess helping you to take what you are holding on to, what you are stuck on, what you are attached to, releasing that, cutting that, taking it out, throwing it down a hole, rather than explaining or trying to give you details about it. So that's the Zen teacher. Not all teachings are in that style, but that's a Zen teacher. So when the student curses at them, they pick up their stick and hit them, saying, "Such rude language. So how could you talk to me like that?" If you have a teacher like that, they lack eyes to begin with. They have no cause to get angry at others. Then there is that bunch of bald heads. Okay, so someone like me, talking about monks in ancient China, like the general monks. Then there is that bunch of bald heads who can't tell good from bad, but point to the east, gesture to the west, love clear weather, love when it rains, love this lamp or that pillar. Look and see how many hairs they have left in their eyebrows, and with good reason. I'll have to look more into that because I don't have eyebrows. If students fail to understand this, they will become utterly bewitched in mind. Teachers like that are nothing but wild fox spirits, goblins. Good students will just give a little snicker and say, "Blind old bald heads, trying to confuse and lead everybody in the world astray." So my understanding of this group of people is people who don't really have a quality of discernment, like a general population of monks or people who are teachers, who don't necessarily have a good quality of seeing good from bad or unskillful from unskillful. Okay, attachment from non-attachment, let's say. But they gesture or they point to enlightenment or they reference this kind of way of enlightenment, and they love everything. They love this and they love that. The notion about the eyebrows, I'm not sure, but there's a note down here at the end of this long passage. Okay. Well, I don't think we're gonna know about it. Anyways, no one here has to worry about it because I don't have eyebrows, so I'm not one of these people. Okay. So this will be our last verse. Followers of the way. Those who have left household life need to study the way. I myself in past years turned my attention to the Vinaya, the structure of rules for Buddhist monks. And I also delved into the sutras and treatises. The sutras and commentaries, I'm pretty sure is what that is. So there's like original Buddhist scriptures, original Buddhist teachings, and then well-known monks or well-minded monks, they make a commentary. They add, like I'll give some commentary here, but more formal. So I delved into the sutras and treatises, and I studied the Vinaya, studied the code of conduct for Buddhist monks. But later I realized that these are just medicines to cure the sickness of the world, expositions of surface-level matters. So I finally tossed them aside and sought the way through Chan practice, Zen practice. Later, I encountered an excellent friend and teacher, and then my Dharma eye at last became keen and bright for the first time. I could judge the old reverends of the world and tell who was crooked and who was straight. But this understanding was not with me when my mother gave birth to me. I had to probe and polish and undergo experiences until one morning I could see clearly for myself. Okay, that's where we will stop our reading for today. So let's spend a few minutes together in meditation. Spend a few moments together with our breath and our truth eye. So we can just sit comfortably, find the breath, find the body, and be kind of prompted by Zen Master Linji's teachings here, and especially as long as you seek something, you will suffer. Better to do nothing. Just sitting, breathing, and being aware. Allow every feeling, sensation, pleasant or unpleasant, allow all conditions to be this song of non-discrimination. Listen closely. Open up to this music of moment by moment, just breathing and being aware. In the Buddhist tradition that I am a part of, we have this word sadhu. Sadhu means well done, excellent, wonderful, good job. And so as we bring our time together here to a close, we can really recognize deeply the excellentness of this practice, the excellentness, the highness of this non-discriminatory mind, wise, compassionate, sincere, fully showing up, nothing excluded, everything included. So I invite us all to bring our hands together, and you can join me in chanting this word sadhu 3 times. Do your best to chant along. No one can hear you, so chant loudly and wonderfully, and express, share your heart, the benefits from this practice out in all the directions, and recognize this moment for what it is. Okay, chant together with me, sadhu 3 times. Sadhu. 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 And we can all make a deep bow. Okay. So thank you all for being here, for joining. Please do know that your presence is appreciated and valuable, and looking forward to continue our practices together as a community, as a meditation community, a well-minded community of practitioners, a sangha. And tomorrow at this same time, we will continue this reading. And this evening, we will also have some kind of group meditation practice, all right? And if you can't make the live session, then you can watch it along later. And somehow we are there in the present together. All right? Thank you all. See you again soon. Be happy.
Thank you.